Hare Krishna everyone. So welcome to all the devotees who have already assembled, and I'm sure some more will join in as we go. So welcome to day 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam Katha Utsava. Let me switch my screen and display the prayers. So we will chant the prayers as more devotees keep trickling in, and then we will start discussing today's beautiful pastimes. More noble kings lined up for you. So you can chant the prayers along with me with folded hands. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. All of you along with me together loudly with love and devotion for the Supreme Lord, invoking His auspicious blessings. Hare Krishna time, all of you loudly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, as always, let us offer our humble obeisances and heartfelt gratitude to His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, my most glorious spiritual master, my eternal source of inspiration. So in Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Shloka number 18, it is said, Nashtaprayeshva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regularly serving the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, every day eternally serving Bhagavatam, what will happen? Mainly two things. Nashta prayeshu abhadreshu. Immediately, the moment you start hearing Bhagavatam and the more and more you listen, what will happen? All the abhadras in your life, in your heart. What are abhadras? All that is inauspicious. All that will become void. All that will be destroyed. Nashta prayeshva bhadreshu bhagavati uttama shloke. When you render this loving service unto the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam, what is the other thing that it will do? Bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. It will establish in your heart and mind without any doubt that Supreme Lord Krishna is the Supreme and it is He to whom we have to render loving devotional service and attain the supreme goal of life, that is going back home, back to Godhead. And also, not only Bhagavatam purifies our heart and establishes Krishna, but also it is said that Bhagavatam will create a revolution within the hearts of its listeners. Not just transformation, but revolution. Look at the choice of words. So taking this message of book Bhagavata, the person Bhagavata, pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, travelled across the globe just like our Narada Muni. The recent version of that Narada Muni was Srila Prabhupada, who travelled across the globe 14 times in 11 to 12 years, and this is exactly what Prabhupada also did using the message of Bhagavatam, created a revolution in the whole world. He turned hippies to happies. So this is a little bit in the glorification of Srila Prabhupada as we move forward on day 9 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So please chant along with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Alright, so let me switch my screen and quickly take a look at all the Bhakta Jana who have assembled bright and early on this beautiful Saturday morning. VK Bhatt, Vijayarani Mataji, Puttagauri, Preeti ji, Sharada Mataji, Sundari, Poovappa, Lakshmi ji, Anju, Shanmuganand sir, Rajeshwari Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Gauri Gupta, Anand Gupta sir, Jailakshmi ji, Ranganathan, Radhika Mataji, Vidya Kumari ji, on and on and on and on. So welcome to each and every one of you. I really appreciate your sincere desire in hearing the message of Srimad Bhagavatam. So what do we have for day 9? Let's take a look. So a quick recap of what we have covered. It's always good to take a look and see what all we have covered until now. So in the first 8 days, day 1, we have discussed the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, establishing its supreme unrivaled position as the Mahapurana, and how only by studying Bhagavatam itself, you don't have to even study any other text, that you can go back home, back to Godhead, achieving perfection. Canto 1, 19 chapters, we saw the chapters flow and content. Canto 2, 10 chapters, the smallest canto of the entire Bhagavatam, but really power packed with so much of technical content. So we saw the flow of chapters in there and all the content. Then moved on to Canto 3, wherein the thighs of the Supreme Lord Darshan is what we are having. So in Canto 3, there are 33 chapters. So we saw the beautiful flow there, the Sarga, Visarga part of it, the Vidura Maitreya Samvada that is going on, and the content of it, the 2 Varaha incarnations. And we also saw how from the 21st chapter of Canto 3 up until 15th chapter of Canto 5 is the Visarga part of it, wherein we are discussing about the descendants of Swayambhuva Manu, one of the sons of Lord Brahma, who was created for the service to be rendered, and that is to procreate, increase the population in the entire Brahmanda. In the end of Canto 3, we talked about Devahuti, one of the daughters of Swayambhuva Manu, her descendants, how she and Kardama Muni had 9 beautiful daughters who all married different sages and helped in the creation. And Kapila, Lord Kapila, the Supreme Lord himself, was so pleased with the purity and the sincere devotion of Devahuti and Kardama Muni, that the Lord himself appears as their son, and that is Lord Kapila. He instructs his mother Devahuti, especially in the subject matter of Sankhya Yoga, establishing the supremacy of Bhakti Yoga, and we saw how Devahuti sincerely practiced those instructions, and she went back home, back to Godhead. Now right now we are in the middle of Canto 4, which has 31 chapters, 4,449 shlokas, almost 10% of Srimad Bhagavatam. When the 31 chapters that we have already covered up until chapter 12, wherein we saw from chapters 1 to 7 the descendants of Akuti very briefly, and then the 16 beautiful daughters of Prasuti. The 16th daughter especially, who was Sati, who had married Lord Shiva. And when Maitreya Rishi was describing to Vidura about all the other daughters and their sons and daughters, then Maitreya Rishi said Sati did not have any children. So that intrigued Vidura. So Vidura asked, how come? How come Sati did not have any children, having married to a great devotee, great Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu? He is the greatest of Vaishnava. How come they did not have any children? Maitreya said, okay, let me describe. So from chapters 2 to 7 in Canto 4, he described how Daksha had this ongoing friction with Lord Shiva because he was envious of Lord Shiva's better position than himself, and how he had insulted Lord Shiva. And then Sati again comes back for the next yajna that he performed uninvited, and there she sees that Daksha Prajapati did not offer the portion of the sacrifice that was due to Lord Shiva, so she cannot bear this insult rendered unto her husband, being the chaste wife that she is. And then she invokes this fire element from her body, and then she burns herself in that fire. So Maitreya Rishi said, so because of this untimely passing away of Sati, Dakshayani, that's why they did not have children. But the same Sati later comes back as Parvati Devi and again marries Lord Shiva, and through both of them we have Kartikeya and Ganesha and all their other children. And then primarily yesterday we discussed about the great devotee Dhruva Maharaj in chapters 8 to 12. We discussed the wonderful glories of Dhruva. Dhruva means determination. How this young little tender 5-year-old boy who had such staunch determination to achieve the love of God, of course he started out with material desire, but then ultimately achieves the best perfection of life. He in 6 months has darshan of the Lord, goes on to rule for 36,000 years because the Lord wanted him to, and then he got into this fight with Yakshas because one of them happened to kill his brother Uttama, and then he was instructed by Swayambhuva Manu to stop it, and he did, and Kubera appeared, and Dhruva did not ask for any material benediction. He only wanted to constantly render loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. All this happened, and then finally when the time came, just like the Lord has given him benedictions, the spiritual plane appeared, and Death himself, Death personified, knelt down, and Dhruva stepped on the back of this Lord of Death, and he boards spiritual plane. There you see how glorious. He is going back home, back to Godhead, to Dhruva Loka in spiritual plane, accompanied by Vishnu Dutas, Nanda and Sunanda. And then he, out of gratitude, asked, but what about my mother? She's the one who set me out on this path. If not for her, I would not have achieved what I did. So they say, don't worry, do you see that other plane going? He says, yes. They say, already your mother is also on the way to Dhruva Loka. So this is the benefit of anybody who shares Krishna consciousness with others. So that is how happily Dhruva and his mother Suniti, both of them achieved the ultimate perfection of life by going back home, back to Godhead. So today the objective is to discuss a few more good and bad kings coming from Dhruva Maharaj's lineage. So we will talk about Maharaja Anga, who was a very good king, but unfortunately he had a very terrible son, Vena. We will see how all that happens. And then the highlight of today, my objective is to focus more on the most exemplary Prithu Maharaj. Very, very, very dynamic, magnificent devotee, Prithu Maharaj. So what are his glories? How did he appear? And how did he rule righteously the entire earth? And who are his descendants? All that and more coming up today. So we will jump to Dhruva Maharaj's descendants. So Dhruva Maharaj had two wives, Brahmi and Ila. Ila was the daughter of wind god, Vayu Devata's putri, Ila. Brahmi had two sons, Kalpa and Vatsara, and Ila had one daughter and one son called Utkala. Now, who became the king right after Dhruva Maharaj? Utkala refuses to become the king. He says, I am very spiritually oriented. I just want to focus on self-realization. I am not really interested in these administrative affairs. So this is something that we see all through. Some kings do take the responsibility assigned to them of progeniting the world, but whereas few of them, because they are so inclined towards God realization, they choose not to get into the administrative affairs, just like Kumaras, the sons of Lord Brahma. Also we saw when Lord Brahma said, please help me in procreating, they said, no, we are not going to get into all this. But whereas Swayambhuva Manu did it, Kardama Muni got into it, Kashyapa Muni got into it. So some of them do and some of them refuse. So here Utkala backs off from the administrative responsibility. So then the next king, the descendant, the heir apparent for Dhruva Maharaj becomes Vatsara. So from Vatsara, there are a few generations that come after him, and later down in the line comes a very noble king, Anga Maharaj. And Maharaja Anga married the daughter of Mrityu, death. Quite scary actually. So don't get confused between Sunita and Suniti. Suniti is the mother of Maharaja Dhruva. Here Sunita is the wife of Anga Maharaj, who is the daughter of Mrityu Devata. And for a long time, Anga Maharaj did not have any sons. So as any king would, naturally, he was also getting concerned, like who will rule after him? They need a heir apparent. So Anga Maharaj called all the best of the Brahmanas in his kingdom, and they were performed so many sacrifices. And in the sacrifices, if it is done properly, if the mantras are uttered correctly, and if the proper offerings are, the oblations are offered into the sacrificial fire, the devatas are supposed to appear and receive their portions. the different demigods will appear and take their portions and bless the performer of the sacrifice. So Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 3, through yajna you satisfy the demigods, and demigods being pleased with your yajnic performance, they will also bestow upon you auspicious things. Proper rains will come, proper sunlight, proper seasonal changes, proper natural resources, proper everything. So here, interestingly, when Anga Maharaj is performing this elaborate sacrifice for the pleasure of the demigod so he can have a son, none of the demigods appeared. They continued and they're seeing that no devatas are appearing. Then finally Anga Maharaj calls the chief priests and consults with them. What do we do? I don't see any demigods appearing to accept the oblations. So the priests inform him that this is the reason, oh dear Anga Maharaj, because of some of your past misdeeds. So right now you are very noble, very righteous. But in your past life you have committed some misdeeds because of which the demigods are not appearing. So they also offer some solution for that, and Anga Maharaj follows it, and finally the devatas start appearing and they are quite pleased with this determined sacrificial offering of Anga Maharaj, and through Anga and his wife Sunita comes Vena. Vena is a minor character in Srimad Bhagavatam. He comes for a very small period. Although he is described in very few shlokas and chapters, but Vena was such a terrible king. Terrible. I mean, Vena would put all today's demoniac rulers to shame. Vena would put even Aurangzeb to shame. So Vena was so terrible. Like he was cruelty personified. It is said that, when the king is righteous and very powerful, he can chastise all the thieves and rogues and dacoits in the kingdom. But here Vena itself, all the other thieves and rogues were afraid of Vena, but Vena himself was the biggest thief and rogue. The citizens would just tremble in front of him. He was so cruel and he would just kill people and he would commit all kinds of offenses. He removed all kinds of religious worship. So extremely cruel person Vena is. And Anga Maharaj, seeing this, although initially he was happy that finally he has a son who can ascend to the throne after his time, but later he is very saddened to see how cruel his son is. Even in the early days, Vena would, as a young boy also, kill his other friends and kick them and punch them in the face and do all kinds of nasty things. But Anga Maharaj, being the great father that he was, he tried to instill so many good values, but Vena would just not budge. It was very unfortunate that Vena did not inherit the good qualities of Anga Maharaj. Instead, he got all the cruel nature and bad qualities from his maternal grandfather's side, that is Mrityu. So that is why we also say during Garbhadhana Samskara it's extremely important, because 14 generations from the father's side and 5 generations from the mother's side influence the progeny that is begotten. So not just the husband and the wife that are important, but also the Vamsha, very important. So here we see how Vena imbibed all the evil qualities from Mrityu, who is his maternal grandfather. So Anga tried his best, but to no avail. Vena would not at all transform. And finally Anga Maharaj gives up. He retires, what to do? And he attains the perfection of life though. For all the parents, sometimes, they are in this conflict. I am trying my best to reform my child, but my child's nature is like this. So Krishna, good thing is he does not see the fruit of your efforts, the result of your efforts. He simply sees your efforts. So here Anga Maharaj failed utterly in transforming the heart of Vena, but he tried. Because he did what he was supposed to do, then he went back home, back to Godhead. But here Vena was so irreligious, so unrighteous, so terrible of a king that the Brahmanas, simply by uttering the mantras, they killed Vena. How powerful Brahmanas must be. They don't need a sword, or they don't have to get into a war to kill someone, simply by uttering the mantras. And Brahmanas are always superior to Kshatriyas. If they see that the Kshatriya, the ruler, is not doing what he is supposed to do, they can dethrone him. They can even go to the extent of killing him, just like our Parashuram, who went 21 times across the globe and killed so many unrighteous Kshatriyas. So similarly, the Brahmanas here killed Vena because they were very, very fed up with his terrible rule. But now what to do next? Vena died without having any progeny. But Sunita had preserved Vena's dead body using some very mysterious precious oils. So the Brahmanas went and requested Mother Sunita that please give the body of your dead son Vena. Taking that dead body, the Brahmanas churned Vena's thighs. And from his thighs came one son called Bahuka, who becomes the king of the Nishadas. It's a community, Nishada community. So Bahuka is the king of Nishadas. And then the Brahmanas were still not so satisfied. Then they churned the arms of Vena, and from churning of the arms of Venas came the most exemplary Prutu Maharaj. So this is a very interesting appearance of Prutu, how he came. He came from the churning of the dead arms of Vena. And along with Prutu, there is another great personality who appeared from the arms of Vena, and that was Archi. And these two are none other than the forms of Narayana and Lakshmi Devi. So Prutu and Archi, they marry each other. They are eternal consorts actually. And what does Prutu mean? Prutu means fame. Prutu is so famous, and he did not even come like a small child and then, having the gradual growth, progression and all that. He just came as a fully grown adult, both Archi and Prutu. And immediately, Prutu Maharaj was crowned. He was coronated along with Archi and all the universal celebrities. Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, Vayudeva, Indradeva, Chandradeva, Suryadeva, Varunadeva, all kinds of demigods, all the universal celebrities also appear, and they are giving various gifts like you can see here. Somebody is giving him a club, somebody is giving him precious necklace, somebody is giving him a conch, and all kinds of auspicious paraphernalia are being gifted. And the professional bards, B-A-R-D-S, professional bards. In some of the kingdoms, the kings would employ professional bards, and their job is to glorify the genealogy, the lineage of that particular king. The previous kings, they would sing their glories in a factual way, beautifully. So professional bards came during the coronation, and they were just glorifying Maharaja Prutu like anything. And when it comes to ruling righteously, there is, Prutu is unparalleled, unrivaled. And Prutu Maharaj, out of his humility, he humbly asked them, please, I have not even done anything yet. I have just been coronated. So I can at least accept and acknowledge these if you sing these glories after I have done, but please don't do it right away. I have not even started ruling yet. It's just my coronation. So this shows Prutu Maharaj's humility. And also, this beautiful shloka chanted by Prahlad Maharaj, which we will see coming up in Canto 7, Chapter 5 and Shloka number 23. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. So this shloka talks about the Navavidha Navavida Bhakti, the 9 different processes of devotional service. And each one of these processes of Navavida Bhakti has an Acharya, has a specific Guru who exemplifies that particular Anga, that particular part of Bhakti in whose footsteps we can follow, and we can also become very adept in following that process. So Shravanam is the very first process of Navavida Bhakti, which is hearing attentively Krishna Katha. So who is the Acharya of Shravanam? It is Maharaja Parikshit. We see here how 7 days, 7 nights. He doesn't drink anything, he doesn't eat anything, he doesn't take a break, he doesn't sleep, nothing. Continuously he is hearing, and he perfected his life simply by doing Shravanam. So Maharaja Parikshit is the Acharya of Shravanam. And then next what? As you do more and more Shravanam, you should also do Kirtanam. It is a natural progression. As a devotee, when you hear so much about the Lord, you can't keep it within yourself. You want to share it with others. You want to glorify the Lord. So Kirtanam is chanting the glories of the Lord. It could be chanting the holy names of the Lord, like chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It could be chanting the shlokas. It could be chanting Krishna Katha like we are doing here through Srimad Bhagavatam. And who is the Acharya of Kirtanam? It is Shukadeva Goswami. Parikshit heard for 7 days and nights. Shukadeva Goswami spoke continuously for 7 days and nights. So Parikshit attained perfection through hearing. Shukadeva Goswami attained perfection through Kirtanam, glorifying. And then the more you do hearing and chanting, Smaranam, you can also remember the Lord. Now you know the form of the Lord, pastimes of the Lord, the abode of the Lord, the activities of the Lord, the associates of the Lord, all kinds of things. So then you constantly start remembering. Manmana bhava mad bhakto, Smaranam. So who is the Acharya of Smaranam? It is Prahlad Maharaj, another great glorious devotee who we will talk about in Canto 7. Next is Pada Sevanam, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. Mother Lakshmi, she is constantly massaging the lotus feet of the Lord. So she is the Acharya for Pada Sevanam, how to attentively, constantly, lovingly, devoutly serve the lotus feet of the Lord. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam. The next is Archanam. Archanam is deity worship, especially for Grihasthas. Deity worship is recommended. It is one of the 5 main angas of spiritual practice, sadhana. You are not the owner of the household. It is Krishna who is the owner of the household. How do we know? Through the kind of deity worship that you are going to offer to him. You have either pictures or deities. And elaborate worshipping within our means, whatever is possible, consistently, it should nicely happen. All the family members know it is Krishna who is the center of the household. It is Krishna who is the master of our household. We are only playing our respective parts in assisting each other in serving Krishna. So who is the Acharya for Archanam? It is Maharaja Prutu, who we are going to talk about. That is why I am chanting this shloka, going through it. So Prutu Maharaj is the Acharya of Archanam, deity worship. So many wonderful, fantastic qualities that Maharaja Prutu had, which we will see now very soon. And then Vandanam. Vandanam is offering our humble obeisances unto the Lord. And for this the Acharya is Akrura, the uncle of Krishna, who came to Vrindavana to take Krishna and Balaram back to Mathura. And on the way itself, he was just rolling in the dust of Vrindavana and going into ecstasy, simply seeing the lotus footprint of Krishna in the sand of Vrindavana, the Vraja dust. So Vandanam, it is Akrura, moving forward. Dhasyam, servitorship, is Bhakta Hanuman, the glorious devotee. He would serve Lord Rama in such an exemplary way that there would be nothing for Lakshmana and Sita to actually do, and they would go and complain to Lord Rama that this Hanuman does all kinds of services for you. He is not leaving any services for us. So this is greed for seva that we should have. And then Sakyam, friendship. We can also serve the Lord through friendship, and for that we see our wonderful Arjuna. The entire Bhagavad Gita was spoken to him. And Krishna says why he chose Arjuna of everybody. You are my Sakha, you are my Bhakta, you are my devotee and you are my friend. Sakyam. That's why I am sharing, Krishna says. Then finally, Atmanivedanam, the complete surrender. Body, mind, intelligence, property, relative, everything, whatever one has, complete surrender. Mamekam sharanam raja. Surrendering everything, taking shelter of the Lord. And for that complete surrender, the Acharya is Maharaja Bali. And his pastime also we will discuss later in Bhagavatam. So like this, Navavida Bhaktis, for each one there is an Acharya, and the fifth Anga of Navavida Bhakti is Archanam, deity worship, and for that the Acharya is Prithu Maharaj, and let's discuss the glories of Maharaja Prithu in a brief way in the available time. And Prithu is so glorious, once all his citizens assembled and then they started wailing and crying and lamenting, and Prithu said, what's wrong? Why are you people so much in lamentation? What is the cause of your suffering? And the citizens said, we are not having enough grains, O Maharaja Prithu. People are dying from hunger. We don't have enough natural resources to carry out our day-to-day activities. And Prithu Maharaj is so upset hearing this, and immediately he starts chastising Mother Earth. And Mother Earth, out of fear, she takes the form of this beautiful cow, and she starts running here and there, every nook and corner of the Brahmanda. And Prithu Maharaj, you can see that how valorously he's chasing after Mother Earth. And finally, after a long chase, he catches hold of Mother Earth and says, why are you doing this? Aren't you supposed to give your share every time the sacrifices happen? Oh Devi, that you are also getting your portion of the sacrifice, aren't you? So how can you simply accept your portion of the sacrifice during the yajna but not do give anything in return? Anything in the sense like hold back. It's unjust on your part to create this kind of scarcity. And I know that you're holding it back. You have it, but you're not just giving it. Just like the citizens, for the facilities that they receive, they pay taxes. And demigods also, it is a reciprocation. Krishna says in chapter 3, you please them through sacrifice and they are supposed to do what they are supposed to do. That is why in the Govardhana Leela, we see that when Nanda Maharaj and others were wanting to do Indra Puja, Krishna forbade them from doing it, saying, why should you do all these extra things? It is the duty of Indra to actually give the right amount of rain at the right time. He doesn't need this under the table bribing by doing all the sacrifice. Separately, it's his duty. He's supposed to give the rains. And Indra got angry and all that. Anyway, that Govardhana Leela, beautiful Leela, we will see later. And Indra got offended and Krishna broke his pride by lifting Govardhana hill for 7 days and nights. So here Mother Earth also, when she was holding back the resources, not producing enough grains, Prithu Maharaj chastises her and says, tell me the reason. Why are you holding back? Why are you creating unnecessary tribulations for my citizens? And Mother Earth then very humbly replies to Maharaja Prithu after glorifying him, saying that, oh Maharaja Prithu, I was doing this because of Vena, your predecessor. Vena was such a terrible, cruel king that I had decided to hold back my resources. So through this pastime, time, dear devotees, we see that Mother Earth has the ability either to give bountifully or hold back and create scarcity. The more righteous the king is, the Mother Earth is so pleased with the rule of that righteous king that she is so happy, and out of her happiness, jubilation, she produces more and more sufficiently, abundantly. But when the bad rulers are ruling like Kamsa and Duryodhana and Vena and such terrible kings, she has the power to hold back. So here now Prithu says, okay, but that was during Vena, but now it is me, I am ruling. Do you see any blemish in me? Then why are you continuing this? Then Mother Earth says, yes, it's her fault now that the rule has changed, and it is the noble, righteous Maharaja Prithu who is ruling. Mother Earth apologizes for her mistake, and she says, from now on, I will definitely create and give in bounty. And she glorifies Prithu again. So this is the power of righteous ruling. When a king is ruling on behalf of the Lord as a representative of the Lord, when he has no fault in him, someone like Prithu can chastise even Mother Earth and make her produce in a rightful way. And this is exactly why our Dharani, our Mother Earth, is called Prithvi. Where did she get the name of Prithvi from? From Maharaja Prithu. So because of Prithu, she is called Prithvi. So this is how, and then situation got better. Mother Earth was producing enough grains, seasonal fruits and vegetables and all kinds of resources and the minerals and the precious gems and all kinds of things, the wood, whatever is needed, everything the citizens got at the right time and the right amount. So they were very, very happy and they lived very nicely. And the king's duty is to do two things. One is to please the Supreme Lord through his righteous rule and also create prosperity for his citizens. Not like there are potholes and infrastructure problems and water problems and rogues are coming and stealing and all kinds of problems created. A king should rule in a way that people have such prosperity so they can simply focus on going back home, back to Godhead on their spiritual thing, not worry for roti, kapda, makan issues all their life. That's the rule of a righteous king. And Maharaja Prithu, just for exactly for this reason, two reasons, one is for the pleasure of the Lord and two is for the prosperity of his citizens, takes a vow to perform Ashwamedha Yajnas. And how many? He takes a vow to perform 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. And there's only one other person who has also done 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas before, and that is Indradev. And that is why Lord Indra, the chief of the demigods, the king of the demigods, he is called Shatakrutu, he who has performed 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. Now Prithu Maharaj also wants to perform 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. He's performed 1, 2, 3, 4, 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas have been successfully completed. The 100th Ashwamedha Yajna is being performed by the great Prithu Maharaj. And what happens? And the detail in Ashwamedha Yajna is a horse is left to go around. And any king who catches hold of that horse, then the performer of Ashwamedha Yajna is supposed to defeat that king and then he will submit to that king and he can continue with Ashwamedha Yajna. Or the king doesn't want to fight the other kings, they will just surrender and say that yes, you can go ahead, and they will not catch hold of the horse. But here, interestingly, 100th Ashwamedha Yajna, there is somebody who has come in the form of a mendicant, a beggar, a sadhu type from his attire. I should not say a beggar, a mendicant. Wrong choice of word for beggar. Mendicant or a brahmana type. So he comes in that form, a sadhu type, and he steals away the horse. And when this horse is stolen, they now cannot continue. They have to pause the Ashwamedha Yajna. And Prithu is the chief performer of Ashwamedha Yajna. He can't leave the sacrificial arena. So he sends his son Ashwajit. Ashwajit or Vishwajit? I think it's Ashwajit. So he goes and he chases after this person who has stolen, but seeing that this person who is stealing the horse is in the form of a, sadhu, he does not kill him because it's not appropriate for a Kshatriya to kill a Brahmana. He just chastises him, he defeats him and retrieves the Ashwa back. That's why it's called Ashwajit. He won back the horse that was stolen in Ashwamedha Yajna. And then they continue with the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna, but this happens again and again and again and again, repeatedly, several times. So who is this person who is coming in the form of this mendicant? It is Indra. Because Indra is getting so insecure, because Prutu is the king of the earth. Indra is the king of the heaven. Indra is afraid of losing the title of Shatakrutu. He is thinking that the king of the earth is supposed to be lesser than the king of heavenly planets, but here Prutu will outperform Indra. So Indra is getting very insecure, which is very not a quality that is to be desired from Indra, but we do have several instances where Indra exhibits character that is not very befitting of his position. So they get to know eventually that it is actually Indra who is coming in this form and stealing the horse and trying to prevent Prutu from performing 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. And then eventually Prutu says, I myself will go and teach a lesson to Indra. But the Brahmanas stop Prutu, saying that the chief performer of the Yajna cannot leave the sacrificial arena, then the whole Yajna will have to be stopped. And then the Brahmanas will say, there is no need for Maharaja Prutu, you to go. What we will do is simply by chanting the mantras, we will make sure that Indra will come and fall in the sacrificial arena. How powerful. Simply by mantras, they were confident that they are going to make sure Indra comes and falls into the fire of sacrifice. So they just they're about to start chanting these mantras and Lord Brahma appears. Lord Brahma comes and says, so here we see Indra stealing the horse and Ashwajit going and defeating Indra and getting the horse back. And now Brahma appears in that sacrifice 100th Ashwamedha Yajna and glorifies Maharaja Prutu for completing 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas and tells Prutu, my dear Prutu, I want you to stop your 100th Ashwamedha Yajna. Please stop this. Because Indra is feeling insecure and he is creating all these disturbances. So you please stop. Now anybody hearing this may think, if this had happened to us, we would say, why are you telling me, Lord Brahma? I am not the one who is making any mistake. I have all the right to go ahead and perform 100 sacrifices. It's Indra who is the troublemaker. It's Indra who is doing all these nasty things. He is the one who is committing the offense and mistake. Why don't you go and instruct him? So we should understand the difference in the natures of Prutu and Indra. Indra is very, very stubborn. He is very, very insecure. But on the other hand, Prutu is very, very noble. He is very, very flexible. Indra is very rigid. So just like if you have two kids, one child is very, very rigid and the other child is flexible, one is submissive and the other is proud and arrogant, you are more likely to talk to the child who is flexible and submissive and humble and say, please, you be the better one. It's okay, just stop the fight. It's okay, just give up. It's okay, you be the, magnanimous and give what you have. So this is how, knowing the noble nature of Prutu and the rigid, proud nature of Indra, Brahma instructs Prutu saying that you please stop it. And Prutu so submissive, he does not get into an argument with Lord Brahma. He simply stops at 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas. Very, very important quality that we can learn from Prithu Maharaj. It is not the magnitude of our service that is important, it is the attitude of our service that is more important. And here look at the noble attitude of Maharaja Prithu. Magnitude wise, yes, 100 is better than 99, but look at the attitude. Attitude of Prithu far surpasses Indra's. Number wise, yes, Indra performed 100 sacrifices, which is more than 99. But in every other aspect, it is Maharaja Prithu's glorious character that outshines Indra any day, any moment. Prithu realizes that it is because of the will of the Lord I was empowered to do these 99 yajnas. But now through the will of the Lord, through Brahma, I am getting the instruction to stop the sacrifice, so I will stop it. So we should also not be extremely rigid in our services, extremely rigid in our spirituality. These are all karmi gunas, materialistic gunas. Sometimes they can also hold us back. But the Lord, Supreme Lord Narayana, is so pleased with this humility, submissiveness, flexibility of Maharaja Prithu. The Lord is so pleased. Although he did not finish 100 sacrifices, the Lord comes. Personally appears, like you can see in this picture. And along with Lord Narayana, all the other universal celebrities, the demigods, also come along with him, accompanying him to see this glorious Maharaja Prithu. And Indra is also so ashamed of what he has done, so he falls at the feet of Prithu Maharaj in front of everybody, publicly apologizing for what he has done. And Prithu also doesn't take all this to heart. He immediately raises Indra up and says, it's okay. So like this, the Lord is pleased with Maharaja Prithu, and Maharaja Prithu at this point offers beautiful, beautiful prayers to Lord Narayana, saying that, my Lord, you are capable of giving all kinds of benedictions, but I don't want any. Just like in Damodara Ashtakam also, Satyavrata Muni is singing, Varam Deva Moksham Va Mokshavadim Va. He is also saying, what kind of Deva you are? Varam Deva. Any varas you can give. But I don't want any varas, including moksha, I don't want. So here Prithu will also pray to the Lord that, my dear Lord, you are capable of giving all kinds of varas, all kinds of benedictions, but I don't want anything. But I desire for only one thing, what? To hear your glories constantly, and for hearing your glories, relishing your glories, Pibatam Bhagavata Rasamalayam, to drink the nectar of your glories. How I wish I had millions of years. And now that's not like Indra having all the eyes on the body, point to be noted. It's not literally having like that. Even in the picture you can see all the eyes. That's another pastime. So Prithu is not asking that kind of millions of years. He's asking that kind of intensity, that kinds of absorption in relishing Krishna Katha. And then Prithu says, but anyway, what do I know what is best for me, my Lord? You know what is better for me. So whatever you think is best, you please give me that only. I don't want to specifically desire for this, that and everything. As long as I have the opportunity to hear the glories of your amazing activities in the association of your pure devotees, that is all I need. And whatever you think is best, I am happy with that. So this is the glorious Prithu, whose 99 Ashwamedha Yajnas are far, far, far more glorious than Indra's 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. And this Prithu, who was conducting the sacrifice a little in the outskirts of his capital city, he is coming back into the city. He is the favorite of all the citizens. Blessed is the king who has the love and loyalty of his citizens. And see here how everybody has gathered and they're showering flowers and the whole city is decorated. And at this point, Prithu Maharaj gives amazing instructions for his citizens, how everybody should follow nicely Daivi Varnashrama Dharma and engage in devotional service, and everybody follows Prithu Maharaj's instructions to the T completely. And after this, the four Kumaras, look at them, so beautiful, so mesmerizingly attractive. The four Kumaras, the sons of Brahma. So they come, even they are so impressed with Prithu Maharaj. Actually, Kumaras, they just keep wandering and they hardly go to anybody. But here, hearing the glories of Maharaja Prithu, even they come and give personal darshan for Prithu Maharaj. And Prithu Maharaj, if you read this section of Bhagavatam in Canto 4, he shows the proper etiquette in how sadhus must be received, how devotees must be received in our grihasthashramas, in our homes. Because a sadhu doesn't go to anybody's home with a personal agenda of them wanting something. They always go to give something precious, and that precious is to help that householder grow in their Krishna consciousness and perfect their lives. So out of their mercy that they go to Grihasthas. So here Prithu also receives them so nicely. We can see how humbly he is sitting down in front of the Kumaras, and Kumaras are so pleased with his behavior, with his character, with his rule, with his everything. And the Kumaras also give beautiful instructions for Maharaja Prithu in how to perform bhakti, and they also establish the supremacy of bhakti. And then Prithu Maharaj follows what these Kumaras, Chatush Kumaras, have instructed him very nicely. He retires. So this is another consistent theme that we see in all the noble kings. They retire at the right time. As soon as they have somebody who is capable of continuing the rule, they just coronate them, they enthrone them, and they retire, because always they are ruling with detachment and responsibility. Although they have all these possessions, they are not possessive. So Maharaja Prithu, being so exemplary, Prithu means famous, the famous Prithu, he renounces everything and then he attains the perfection of life. And at this point, his glorious wife, Mother Archi, who is also extremely noble, she sets funeral pyre. And in that funeral pyre, when Maharaja Prithu's body is cremated, she also performs sati. She voluntarily enters the fire. And through that, she also goes back home, back to Godhead. She attains the same destination that Maharaja Prithu attains. So here we see two planes. So yesterday we saw spiritual plane came for Dhruva Maharaj, and today we are seeing that the spiritual planes coming for Prithu Maharaj. Yesterday Dhruva Maharaj was accompanied by his mother Suniti. Here Prithu Maharaj is going along with his wife Archi. So this beautiful spiritual planes come, and they both board the planes, Prithu and Archi, and accompanied by Vishnu Dutas, and they are also going back home, back to Godhead. And looking at this, as they are traversing and rising above and above, going above the heavenly planets, even the heavenly denizens, they are looking at the great fortune of Prithu and Archi and saying that how fortunate these people are on Prithvi Loka, on earthly planet, that too in human life, and that too performing Krishna Bhakti and perfecting their life so quickly, because it's not so easy. So the denizens of heaven looking at Prithu and Archi going back home, back to Godhead, in Canto 4, Chapter 23, Shloka 28 are chanting Savanchito batatmadro krichrena mahata bhuvi labdva pavargyam manushyam vishayeshu visajjate. They are saying Atmadrok, he is a killer of the soul. Who is a killer of the soul? Vanchito, he is just cheating himself. Who is cheating himself? who got an opportunity to take birth on earthly planet, that too in Bharatavarsha and that too in a human form, Labdva aparvargyam, after getting so many benefits, if he does not perfect his life, then he is definitely a cheater of his own spirit soul. Vanchito atmadruk. So we should take all these lessons, instructions from these glorious pastimes that are filled with philosophy actually, but because we are going at a faster pace to complete and get an overview of Bhagavatam, I am just focusing mostly on the stories and giving little bit of philosophy, very little. But the instruction here is we should perfect our human life. Keep the main thing, and that is to perform Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, to perform Krishna consciousness in an intense way and achieving perfection as soon as possible. Hopefully this very life. So we should also get eager. When will the spiritual plane come for me? When will also go back home, back to Godhead? I'm seeing Dhruva going, I'm seeing Prutu going. So all these noble souls are achieving perfection. When will that day come that I will also achieve the perfection of my life? Should be our intense greed. Okay, so on that note, we have heard about Maharaja Prutu's glories today, after whom our earth planet is called Prithvi. Prutu means famous, and we saw how glorious, how flexible, how submissive, how humble, what a great devotee he was, who chastised even Mother Earth and made sure that she produced in bounty and gave all the natural resources. Now, going forward, tomorrow we will see who are the descendants of Maharaja Prutu. So some more wonderful kings coming up. So we are still not done with the lineage of Uttanapada. So a little bit of 4th canto is left. So tomorrow my objective is, dear devotees, to complete off 4th canto, and I am thinking that most likely if we have time we can also enter into canto number 5, the descendants of Priyavrata Maharaj. Many wonderful kings lined up there also. Rishabhadeva, Bharat Maharaj, great noble kings coming up. But all that and more you have to log in tomorrow at 6 a.m. Indian time. Until then, you take care and be Krishna conscious and keep recollecting and remembering all these wonderful pastimes, and do me a favor by spreading the word to your family and friends so they can also come and relish Srimad Bhagavatam Katha Utsava. Meanwhile, if you haven't already subscribed to Aradhana YouTube channel, it's high time that you do so. This evening at 5:30 we are also having Bhagavad Gita class. We will be discussing from shlokas 16 from chapter 15 Purushottama Yoga in Purushottama Masa. So you're welcome to join. It will happen on Aradhana YouTube channel. So I invite you to join that as well. And if you like today's session, hearing about the glories of Prutu Maharaj, you can also go ahead and hit the like button. So take care everyone. All glories to Purushottama Masa. All glories to Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees. Thank you so very much for joining this morning. See you again tomorrow. Hare Krishna.